So y'all, I was tidying up around the kitchen and I started listening to like a lot of the lyrics of the songs that I'm listening to on this R&B throwback. Let me show you. It's the R&B throwback, and I'm listening to the music and washing dishes, and I turned the music down because if I do end up posting this for my YouTube content, I know I can't have, copyright music on my channel. But I wanted to stop real quick. Hopefully this water is not too loud while I'm rinsing the dishes off so I can put them away. To think about the music that we listen to, like people in my age group. I had stopped to take like just a short little break because I was like, oh, after I cleaned off the stove and wiped down the refrigerator, and I had to pick and choose all the little stuff that my daughter has up there that I don't want to get rid of, but I'm tired of all of that stuff being on the refrigerator. I just wanted to take me a little bit of a break. And I was thinking to myself, one of the songs that I had just listened to was Color Me Bad's I Wanna Sex You Up. And I'm singing that song the way I sung it when it came out. And I was like, I was a kid when this song came out. So I went and I looked up the year that the song was released. And I just saw the year and I was like, I was a teenager when this song came out. And I'm thinking to myself, this was the music that I was listening to. And listen, I will never try to act like, just because somebody is a teenager that they don't have their own thinking brain. But you gotta understand, teenagers are still developing. They're just bigger kids, right? They're not grown-ups yet. And that's why they're called minors. And I'm listening to this song talking about I want to sex you up, make sweet love to you, blah, blah, blah. And there was a lot of songs out back in the 90s, and we love 90s music. I mean, 90s music has a lot of great R&B. We love 90s music. It had a lot of great love songs, and a lot of the love songs, I'm not saying all, because I have not sat down and done a formal statistic on it, but a lot of the love songs to me sounded a lot like women singing to guys basically to want the relationship fantasy and fairy tale that we get conditioned to think love is. And then a lot of the guys' songs were take me back, give me another chance, and let me give it to you, be my freak. And I'm thinking to myself, that's where a lot of this craziness that we're seeing in today's times got some of its green light from, to be honest with you. The music had changed. The nature of the way men and women were in relationship with each other started to be like very, casual. It wasn't under the auspices of what we think of as friendship, courtship, marriage. It was more like have a good time, play around, be the Mac, play the field. And I'm not trying to make, girls innocent in all of this in terms of like, oh, women don't cheat. I'm pretty sure there's girls who, had somebody that thought she was being exclusive and she wasn't, okay? So, but what I'm saying is, it was a high concentration of guys no longer singing about even take me back, give me another chance. It was just basically, let's have a good time. I'ma have a good time with who I want to have a good time with, and just turmoil. When I think of male R&B, and when I think of female R&B, I hear a lot of pick me, be with me, give me the house and carriage and picket fence type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Basically, I'm thinking back on how young I was. And when you're very young and you're being influenced by external things like TV, like music, like movies, like environment, surroundings, school peers, peer pressure, parents, that's who this message is really, I'm telling this message to. You have to take time to talk to and with your kids, not at them. Okay, because there's a lot of parents, a lot of boomer parents that's gonna be like, well, we told y'all. No, you was talking at us. You wasn't talking to us and with us. And there was a lot of people out here going into relationships, not knowing what the hell they was doing, having kids with people that they had no business having kids with, being parents at an age they had no business becoming a parent. And all of that stuff is now like showing up to me in society, in our communities. And this is not to say that that's all the world has been, is, poor choices in love and romance and unprepared parents and blah, blah, blah. There are people who got married. There are people who had guidance, support, education, information. They did things according to a system that would support a child. They planned their parenting. That all exists in the world. I'm not taking away from that. But what also exists in the world is this other reality where people were unprepared, immature, undeveloped, making choices, serious choices, having responsibilities they weren't prepared for, having responsibilities they didn't want. There's a lot of absenteeism because if parents didn't want to be a parent, they just woke up and chose not to be a parent. And it wasn't just about adoption. It was just absenteeism. It was abandon. It was neglect and trauma and abuse going on, okay? So, like I said, I'm not trying to blame the music or media, movies, TVs for my choices as a teenager when I made choices I had no business making, doing things I had no business doing, but not being informed, educated, supported, guided, and then making choices that I really didn't really know the impact it was going to have on the future, okay? And so I'm just thinking about the music, and like sometimes it is hard for me to enjoy the music. What I usually listen to, let me dry my hands off so you can see this real quick. When I tell you 24/7, this is what I'm playing. I'm only playing this because I just felt like I needed some cleanup music. And I normally can clean up to this lo-fi chill on Apple Music. When I tell you Dogs It Out, it's 9 hours and it's on rotation every day. I mean, I've played it for weeks. I've played this constantly for so long. I know when they change the playlist up. I know when they take a song off or when something's out of order. This is no lyrics. This is all chill music. That's what I've been on for a couple of years now. And I used to be the queen of burning CDs, okay? I used to burn CDs for my friends. I used to always stay on top of music. If you ask me about music anymore, like even if you ask me about music within the past 5 or 10 years, I wouldn't really be able to tell you because I really just stopped listening to it as I started to evolve. I started to deal with a lot of things that I had been through. Maybe not deal with them, but at least acknowledge them. In the past couple of years, I've been dealing with them. And I can't listen to music the same. Let me tell you a funny story. I was bringing my daughter to school. This was a little minute ago. And when I was trying to find a parking spot, somebody had passed by playing a song that was very familiar to me. And I was like, I haven't heard The Dream in a long time. So I put The Dream on. And I can't play it right now because, copyright stuff. But I put The Dream on. I put that song on. Actually put his album on. And as I listened to him, I started going, oh my God. This music is, if you listening to the words, this music is out of control. If you're listening to the music, which is usually what hooks you. The frequency in the music is what gets you. I don't want to bring up no current songs, but there's a song that's out now that when I hear it come on, I already want to start popping my fingers because it's the frequency of the music. But then when I start hearing the words to it, I'm like, I'm not singing that. I put it on and I just thought that I was going to be transported to a nostalgic moment when I used to dog the Dream CD. I mean, I liked him so much, I went to go see him in concert. He was in concert. I want to say this show was a Dream, Keisha Cole, Bobby V show. And I went to go see them at the House of Blues. That's how much I liked all of them. Bobby V too, and of course Keisha Cole. And I turned it off. I was like, I can't even feel this the way I used to feel it when I was much younger. So what I'm saying is, parents, you have to, when you have children, you have to understand that being a parent, and if y'all want me, listen, I'm a Gen X mom. I am an adult child. Both of my parents are still living, and I have adult children, okay? So I can see it from both angles. If you guys, because y'all always say the older generation is not telling y'all anything, and then sometimes the older generation says, well, we tell y'all stuff, but y'all don't want to listen to us. But if you want to listen, if you really want to hear some stuff about parenting, becoming a parent, and you want to hear it from somebody who not only was a teen mom, but who has grown up now to be able to reflect on parenting and reflect on parenting in the position of being an accountable parent for the choices that I made when I was young, immature, unprepared, undeveloped, and that affected my children. It affected them because I didn't have everything I needed when they were young. They have a different mom now, but they needed a lot of the stuff that I know as an adult. They needed that stuff when they were in their childhood. And I wasn't able to give them all of that stuff. And there were things that I was able to give them, but I wasn't able to be consistent with it. And then there were some wonderful things that I gave. So I'm not going to take away from that fact. But an accountable parent, a parent who, to the point where my kids are like, Mom, please, stop apologizing, okay? But when they say certain things to me, I want to let them know that I hear them. If y'all want to really hear some stuff, and this is not me telling you how things are going to be if you become a parent. This is stuff that I'm telling you could happen. Why thinking things through matters, okay? If y'all want to hear that, drop in the comments parenting. Okay, drop in the comments parenting. And if I get enough people that are interested, I will be vulnerable enough to put out some information about being young and in love, information about sex. Okay, I took sex education in college. I'm not an expert, but I have had a formal education on sex. So I do feel like I can speak on some things. So teen romance, sex, relationship when you're a young adult, you haven't really stepped into who you are yet. Becoming a parent and being a parent where you cannot forecast the future and that you are continuing to develop as a person in this world yourself while you're doing that job. If y'all want some information on that type of stuff, I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you. You can ask me questions. I'll answer it to the best of my ability. But what I wanted to end with, besides the fact that, you know, yes, I was a teenager and I was making choices that had I been supervised and guided in a certain type of way, I don't think I would have made those choices, but I don't know. I'll never know, okay? But I know that reflecting back on it, I shouldn't have never been in some of the situations that I was in. And some of those situations were extremely traumatic for me. That's why I say I got to a point where I was I was able to acknowledge that things happen, and now I'm at a point where I'm working on healing those things. And I'm telling you, some days it's really hard to think back on some of the stuff that happened to me, not in a victim way, but to just stop and be able to acknowledge it. I couldn't do it before because I had to be a parent. So there wasn't no putting no kids on ice while I deal with, no, I had to keep rolling through it. And so years and years of accumulating that is being dealt with right now. So there's a few people that probably ain't seen me in a while. That's because I'm working on myself. I spent a lot of time in my life making time for others, not just my children, but others in general, showing up for other people and feeling like I needed to show up when I probably wasn't able to, but I was so worried about losing that relationship or not belonging there anymore, or, not being accepted anymore if I didn't do. I don't believe in that no more. I've exercised that out of myself, okay? And it's been an adjustment not only for me, but it's been an adjustment for people who came to know me as a person that gave and always was reliable. And I have boundaries now, and I'm not apologetic about that. They've actually helped me in a healthy way. But if y'all want information about that, drop the word parent in the comment. Make a comment, but put the word parenting in the comment. Parenting. Put the word parenting in the comment, and I will make maybe like a series. I won't bite off everything all at once, even though, as you can see, I'm a talkative person. But when I talk a lot, it's meaningful. It's not just rambling. I'm not gossiping. I'm not talking about stuff that I don't know anything about. If you ask me about something I don't know, I'm going to tell you I don't know, because I don't know everything, okay? I don't know everything. I don't have to know everything, nor am I supposed to know everything. Because if that's the case, if we all supposed to know everything, then a lot of people's lives wouldn't look how they look, okay? And I'm not trying to be shady, but I'm just being honest. No one knows everything, and it's okay to say that you don't know everything. It's okay to know that you didn't do everything right. It's okay to know that you stepped out into something that you just couldn't handle, but you bit off more than you could chew, but you didn't really know what to do after that to correct anything or, change the gears or nothing like that. It's okay. But if you ask me something that I do know about or I'm familiar with, I'll tell you, and I'll give you my best shot at it. Again, it's not to tell you what to do in your life. I don't know your life. I don't know the people in your life. I don't know your upbringing. I don't know any of that. And even if you could sit down and tell it to me, I still wouldn't be able to make the choices in your life. What I care about is not only younger people. And when I say younger people, I mean children that are old enough to hear a little word. Their attention spans are short, but you could tell kids stuff. You could teach them stuff and train them things and guide them in certain ways. Teenagers, young adults, and even adults. There are some women who are my peers that they need what I'm saying too, because some of them made mistakes and they don't really realize how to recover from them, and they're still living in that. You got people who just didn't know how to come back from something that happened to them, and it's been their part of their identity for decades, and we gotta let that go. And I'm a work in progress. I'm not trying to sit here and talk like, oh, I'm all done. And listen, that was one of the things I was waiting for to start this channel. Oh, let me wait until I'm done, healing everything, and wait until I'm done and I got my 6-pack abs, and wait until I'm done and I'm a homeowner, and wait until I'm done and I'm pushing a car that baby, I'm coming here live and direct. I don't have no makeup on. I'm chilling in one of my t-shirts that I really do not like wearing out in public, but I'm cleaning up the house in it right now. But I wasn't trying to, put on no certain type of look or appearance. And there was a time in my life when I knew I wanted to get on social media so I can make an impact and help women and girls, but I kind of learned social media in a illusion type of way. I learned it in a way that made me feel like everything had to be perfect. Now I'm cleaning up my kitchen and I still got dishes in the sink. Now I'm not going to show you all that, but I'm gonna tell you I got some dishes in my sink. I'm cleaning up right now. You know what I mean? So I was trying to learn how to vlog. Like, how would I vlog? And I don't want my vlog to just be me just going on and on and on, because, people don't want to always listen to that. But baby, when I get to telling you a story, you're going to be captivated. That's not my word. That's words other people have told me when I have talked about certain things. I know how to tell a story, and I'm not storytelling as in fabricating or making something up, just bringing you in so that I can then say, this is the reason why I told you that, and we could discuss that, because I like to hear what other people think. I am not above correction. When I get new information, I will change what I think. That's not flaky. That's not bending with the wind. That's not riding the fence. That's getting new information, okay? And you have to be mature and emotionally intelligent to get new information and go, I got to rethink this. You know what I'm saying? And I don't have no problem with that. That has helped me grow in the past couple of years. That's part of what I've been doing. So when people are like, where you been, girl? Child, I've been taking care of myself. That's what I've been doing. But part of me taking care of myself is acknowledging, addressing, and dealing with a lot of things that I went through in my life. Being an adult child who can have lots of things that I can say about my own parents and their choices, but also too, being a parent of adults and knowing that my kids, you know, are asking questions or wondering, why would you do that? And how come you chose to do it this way? And, you know, this affected me like this. And I have to sit there and allow them to express themselves because they have a right to. Don't get me started. Like I said, y'all got to put parenting in the comments. Otherwise, you know, I'm not going to really try to shove nothing down nobody's throat unless it's interesting. I mean, if people are interested in it, then I'll do it. Otherwise, you know, I'm just going to keep on making my videos and learning how to do, you know, content the way that I'm doing it. But my whole point is going to be realistic, authentic, and genuine. That's my whole goal in this. And there's going to be days where I'm just going to be hanging out in the house, just, you know, looking comfortable and on my own. And then there'll be days I'll be out and about. But I'm not here to put on no show. That's what I'm not going to do. I'm not here to perform. I'm going to share information to the best of my ability to be precise. But sometimes when I'm passionate about something, I'm just, you know, I'm getting it out real quick, and I might not use the proper vocabulary, but I'm also working on my vocabulary. So I'm precise when I say certain things, because you'll never know. A sentence and a delivery can change just because you chose the right word. But at the same time, I'm not here to script this. You know, if I say something and it doesn't come out properly and I realize it didn't land the way I intended it to land, I will just come in and correct it. You know what I'm saying? I think I see people all the time go in their caption and use the asterisks and just say, hey, I didn't mean this when I said this like that. Because I am still working on absolute language. Everybody, always, never. You know what I'm saying? Black, white, good, bad. You know what I'm saying? Right, wrong. Everything is not that neat in life, and we think it is, but it's not. It's not that neat, but it feels comfortable to use the neat language because you could just go ahead and just finish what you're trying to say. But when you think about it, you're not always getting caught at a red light. Well, that's not true, because I mean, you would never get to go. You would never get where you're going if you're always getting caught at a red light. You know what I'm saying? Oh, everybody is out. No, there's some people in their house today on a holiday. You know what I'm saying? It's like, so we have absolute language and we use it very casually, but you got to understand, sometimes when you're talking in a certain way, you can come across like you're, you know, boxing something in as this clean, neat, simple thing. When you talking about life, baby, it's not that simple, neat, and clean, okay? Life has a lot of nuance, and there's a lot of things that go on that has caveats and one-offs and things like that. And I like to talk about that type of stuff. I do. I like to talk about that type of stuff. I'm not a surface conversationalist. Please don't come over here talking about, you know, the baseball game and the weather, because I'm be ready to go, okay? I want to talk about some stuff where I can walk away with something, you know, something that makes me feel like I want to take out my notebook and write a couple of things down and reflect on it in my journal later. But anyways, yeah, so I was thinking about all of that. I just want parents to understand that, or people who aren't parents yet, or people who maybe you only have one child. Parenting is a huge undertaking of responsibility, sacrifice, definitely love, support, guidance, and all those things are a part of it. But I'm talking about the active doing of it. It's not just making sure someone has some place to live, that they have something to eat, that they're going to school, that they go to the doctors, and that, you give them something fun to do. You clean them up and you wash their clothes and, get them to bed and say their prayers and say their grace over. It's so much more than that. It's so much more than that. And in order for you to do that, you have to prepare yourself. That's why I'm saying, when the world was more so friendship, courtship, dating, marriage, and this is not a everybody get married. I have a whole other conversation when it comes to marriage, but the order of that, even if it started off with, like, how other countries have arranged marriages, even if it starts off because it's an arrangement and then people get married, the reason for that system, it has some things in it that honestly, you know what I'm saying? And if the person ain't right, then you don't do it. And if you don't do it, you don't have those children. You get what I'm saying? This isn't about children that we've had not being in the world. Because, I get a little leery about talking about it because some people like to hear that. That's not what we're saying. We're saying the same way I deserve to come into this world with the best advantage, I feel my children deserved to come into this world with the best advantage. I love being a mom. I am still a mom. I still have a child at home. And some people say I did it again. It wasn't that I ever stopped. I love being a mom. But the thing is, when you have your children and you reflect on the choices that you made to have the children, if it wasn't in a system where you felt like a village was there and you felt like you were supported, you have to go back and think about how you got there. And nobody dragged you there, I'm not blaming anybody for certain things that may have, taken place, because I'm going to always reserve room for traumatic experiences, things that are unspeakable, things that are triggering. And as a result, there are children in the world from things like that. I mean, if y'all think that everybody walking around here came from two people that was trying to fall in love, puppy dog love or whatever, you must have your head under a rock, okay? Because everybody out here is not from that, okay? But you reflect and you just think and you go, you know what? My kids are amazing. My kids are amazing kids. And I really, really wished I did things in a way that put them at the greatest advantage. And so the best thing that I can do is just take accountability for that. Also, too, if there are any parents out there who want a little information on taking accountability with your kids, because I know it's difficult, I'll make a video on that too, but we'll address that at another time. Right now, I just want to talk to people about parenting itself. But yeah, you reflect on that and you feel like, listen, I love motherhood. I love parenting, because there are some dads out here doing it on their own. Or just, people who are parents, period. It doesn't have to be about solo moms and solo dads and co-parents and stuff like that. It could be two parents in a home that are like, boy, this is a lot more than we thought. Yeah, it really is. You just reflect and you say, I really wanted to have the greatest advantage for them, and how did we get to this point where, some of the choices that I made weren't the best, and I have to accept that affected my children, and I have to support, us in the present to the best of my ability, as well as when they're adults, respect that they have agency over their life. Okay, this is not something we give them. They have agency, and they also need to recognize that they have agency. That's another video that I'll make at another time, is parents and adult children. But yeah, I was just reflecting on the music, like I said, to bring it back to the beginning, staying on the same point, which is having children is nothing to sneeze at, and you have to be there to guide them, to protect them, to educate them, to inform them, to teach them.